And by as soon as possible, I of course mean right now, spawning in the top right position as the blue Terran player. We have, for Acer, he's taken the last 2 wins with some nice builds and nice timings. It is MMA. And spawning in the bottom left position, another Korean Terran, formerly of Slayers. Will he be able to tie things up in this match? He's got to put the team on his back. It is Axiom's Ryung. And I like MMA's build so far. In fact, I would go so far as to say that in the Acer TeamStory Cup, MMA has busted out some very, very nice builds and timings. I mean, he's kind of been a little bit of an oracle on TvP as far as putting out new stuff. So I'm not surprised he's had good success so far in his TvT match versus Hart, but Ryung is going to be an equally scary opponent to deal with, and I'm sure that after watching that game versus Hart, Ryung is going to be aware of possibilities as far as really, really hyper-aggressive play go from those big doom drops that MMA was able to pull off. So Ryung is going to go for a very fast gas follow to his barracks. He actually got that at 12 supply, so he will be going for a super fast Reaper. And in terms of the setup that MMA is going for, he's going to have a slightly delayed gas. He could possibly go for something like CC first, and ooh, this is going to be so rough. I don't see too many scenarios where going CC first ever really pans out that well for the player versus a Reaper opening. But we will have to see. The barracks is just about to start for MMA. And the other thing that's going to be really important too is he going to build 1 barracks? Is he going to build 2? Is he going to go for a fast gas? I don't know, but the barracks is just underway for MMA as the Reaper begins for Ryung. And Ryung has an opportunity to do a lot of damage here with this Reaper. This is one of those scenarios where you can do so much pain to your opponent. But we'll have to see. MMA is going to go for a gas follow-up. He's going to have single Marine production, and this is going to be rough, guys. If Ryung makes a second Reaper, then it's going to be 1 Marine every 20 seconds, and in the 25 seconds it takes for him to kill that Marine and then kill the next, and then wait for the next one to come out, he's going to have regenerated all of his lost health. MMA is going to need some top control to hold this off. We actually have his second barracks up for Ryung as well. This is almost a build order counter, guys. He's not going to have anything to really deal with this. The bunker is on the way. The problem is Reapers on this map, they don't really care. These guys just honey badger it, just run right past it. They're like, yeah, well, you'd be surprised as to how much I really care about this. So the Reaper's going to run in towards that main base now for Ryung. Possibly anticipating the enemy is going to do this. He's going to stop the factory from even being started. The bunker's going to complete, but he doesn't have to stay in the bunker. He doesn't have to fight that. It's like, he's like, okay, you got a Marine in a bunker. Okay, well, that's really interesting because that bunker's not next to your minerals, so I don't care. He's going to chip away at these Marines' health. He's waiting for the follow-up Reapers to come. Of course, that Reaper's regeneration passive will kick in just a moment, and this is where things get tricky. That third Reaper is rolling on up. He's actually not going to make too many more Reapers, it looks like. He's going to add on a factory now. He has started an expansion command center. But these Reapers for Ryung, these can be... These can do a lot of damage. But actually, MMA, he's held this off pretty well so far. But these 2 extra follow-up Reapers are where things can get a bit dicey. MMA's actually pulled SCVs to keep with his Marines so that he doesn't just lose to this. He's pulled a lot of SCVs to try to catch up on top of these Reapers, and this is about as good of a decision as you can make when you're dealing with this, but Ryung is going to be able to kill off a lot of them. Ooh, one of the Reapers really almost getting caught there. He will be able to kill that off, and MMA, he just has such low unit production, but once his Hellion comes out with these Marines, he should be okay. Now getting a starport as well, and Ryung, he's just looking for places to dive in and try to chew away at these units. He's going to be picking off, possibly killing one of these Marines. And the thing is, these Reapers regenerate their health. These Marines do not. He needs a medevac to be able to restore their hit points. But now with this Hellion out, I think these Marines and the Hellion should be able to hold this off. Yeah, MMA is just going to send these SCVs to go back to mining. But, you know, quick news flash update with the SCV count. And it does look like both players are even, which is going to favor MMA very slightly. He has double worker production. This command center has completed, but... Of course, you have to wait another 30 seconds to get out, to actually start your SCV production. So, These Reapers are going to stay pretty active on the field for Ryung. He's killed a good couple of SCVs. Only 4. I'm actually a little bit surprised that MMA has held so well versus this. I won't lie. Oftentimes, especially if you are like me, you play on the ladder online, you go and you get your nerd hopes crushed by Reaper attacks so early when you're trying to go command center first. But MMA, these SCVs are the protective posse of this, meaning that they want to make sure this high-class technological masterpiece does not fall apart. Finally going back to work. But Hellbats is going to be the follow-up for MMA. Pretty standard. He's going to move that factor on over. The armory is going to be complete very soon. And, yeah, MMA can start up his Hellbats. He's going to get another reactor on his barracks, which is very interesting. Looks like he wants to go for a lot of Hellbats and Medivacs. This is something that we've seen Flash really pioneer, is going for mech with Medivacs. It's actually really good. You just drop Hellbats on top of your opponent's army when they try to retreat, and then you siege up behind them as they run away and scream in terror. But Vikings coming out for Ryung. He wants to make sure he's not going to get killed off by any crazy fast drops. His natural expansion is running underway. Nice. And secure. And a drop is going to head into the natural for Ryung. He's going to drop some Widow Mines. He's going to drop one mine. Try to get to work on these SCVs. And the second drop he wants to split the drop up and make it really cost effective, but alas, it wasn't meant to be. He's going to have to boost away. Oh, no, it's so low. The problem is once that boost runs out, the Viking for MMA might be able to catch it eventually anyway. This mine has only killed a single worker. And MMA's Viking's getting so close. Is he going to pick it off? Ooh, Ryung barely gets those Marines and mine out. And his skin does go down. He's able to pick off Ryung's mine. He has a third command center. So MMA's looking pretty solid. He's got that Hellbat production rolling. He's got his first Hellbat drop moving across the field, and ooh, Ryung. His mine might spot this. He's going to fly right by it. Ryung should know now that MMA is coming up with this drop towards that natural expansion. Now, Ryung has a good number of Marines. He's got a siege tank out. He is trying to be as active as he can on the field, but now these Vikings are going to hit over to intercept this drop. MMA has to be so careful moving in here. I love that he's just sitting here waiting. He's going to send out another drop on the east-west side of the map. And as long as he's driving into these Vikings, no, MMA, you're medevac. Oh, he's going to try to boost through. He is going balls deep here, and he will not be able to reach the base of Ryung, unfortunately. Widowmine unleashes some pain here on MMA's Hellions. So Ryung is looking pretty solid so far. He has not really dropped a beat this game. He is still barely behind on SCVs because the third command center is done for MMA. But now he has his own finally complete, and he'll be able to take his third base. Both players going to take their thirds at the same time. And these Vikings are going to catch MMA's second drop. No luck today. I guess in this game, really. MMA's been playing pretty damn well up to this point, but no luck against Ryung. Ryung is saying, hey, man, you're formerly my teammate. Well, I'm going to have to pound your face in this game, even though we play in GSTL together. Nothing personal. I just want to get my team up to the next position, of course, in the Acer TeamStory Cup. We are so much higher rated than you. We should not be down 1-2, but the Hellbat tank production is rolling along for MMA. He's got the medevacs to accompany his forces. He can ferry those Hellbats along. And MMA actually has not gotten really many tanks out yet. He's got one tank, so a good split on this bio could spell disaster for MMA if Ryung moves in. I love that the medevacs just have these Hellbats burrowed inside of them. And ooh, we have the drop headed over. It finally managed to reach the main base of Ryung at the same time. Ryung's going to push MMA. Does he have enough to deal with this? The tank's unleashing its pain. The Hellbats dropped on top of the bio. He is going to be able to take out a lot of it. But with the tank gone, this is such a risky position to be in. MMA actually has not unloaded his medevac. He hasn't unloaded his medevac. Everything is still in there. He's not doing any damage at all. His third base is going to be forfeit. He's only got a single Hellbat. He's going to have to forfeit his third base. MMA now finally going to drop in the main. Ryung, though, he is going to be able to react in time now that he has his setup pretty secure over at MMA's base. And MMA will be able to hold this off for now. He's lost a lot. He still has a medevac. He can repair this if he wants to try to drop more Hellbats on top of his opponent's army. But now Ryung is going to have MMA contained to 2 bases for a little while. It's so hard to push out into bio like this when you only have mech units. So a pretty solid defense here from Ryung. He hasn't lost anything else. And like I said, Ryung hasn't dropped a beat this game. He is on top of everything that MMA's been doing. He's shut down pretty much all of the drops, hasn't taken any crippling amounts of damage from them. And now, well, he's got a lot of bio coming out. MMA scans. He's trying to assess the situation. He's like, well, am I going to be able to actually go out and take my third base? There's some Marauders here. 3 of them are going to do a lot of damage to my tanks if I try to push out into that tank line. I might need to use Hellbats to get out of here. I might need to use them to lead or to just drop up and tank. And another thing to consider is the production, right? Ryung has had a good number of barracks for a good while. His production is so much better than MMA's right now. MMA just now wrapping up his 3rd and 4th factory. No, the 5th one isn't even done yet, so it's pretty much just 3 factory production. MMA is slowly pushing out, and now a little bit of miscontrol from Ryung will allow MMA to pretty much punch through this. He's going to take some damage on his tanks, though. But, oh no, he's trying to move in. Ooh, MMA, there's a lot of bio here for Ryung. He's moved up additional forces. I love that he doesn't have them on top of the tanks. The scan will not reveal everything. Ryung saying, hey, Assimilator, I want your body. Or I guess a refinery. But these Vikings are being very active, patrolling around the map, looking for medevac drops. And I love this. Ryung is... he's just everywhere right now. I feel like I'm just kind of sitting here talking about how much I love Ryung, but I gotta say, if the guy's playing this well, you can't blame him. And MMA is slowly trying to inch forward here, trying to get a better tank positioning to be able to take out the tanks of Ryung. He's gonna take out one of them. With the Viking count lead, MMA should be pretty secure to eventually take this base. He's just gonna inch his tanks forward. Slowly but surely wins the race. She's actually barely not in range of that tank. He's being careful, though. Doesn't want to step into the tank range of his opponent. But Ryung, he's had access to this base for so long. It's really working out for him. And I love he's just got these supply depots just everywhere. This is really going to mess with a mech army and kind of bottleneck it into chokes, as it were. But MMA slowly shoving out. He's trying to take his 3rd base. We're at the 16-minute mark, though. Ryung has denied this for long enough. He could try to get into some other kind of anaconda chokehold on it, but MMA is going to finally be able to get that 3rd base. And Ryung, he's going to max out soon. This is going to be a pretty big opportunity for him to try to do something towards this back force. The Hellbat drop is moving in. And that drop is going to hit that main base. He's not really going to kill anything, though. Let's look at some numbers, guys. Total workers killed by Ryung, 12, MMA, 9. MMA drops have not done much at all. And oh god, Ryung, he's loading up, guys. He's gonna go. He's saying, hey man, you wanted to doom drop my teammate. Well, guess what? I can do that back to you. MMA is moving his big mech force out, but at the same time, he's gonna get hit with this drop in his main base. There's a tank sieging up. He needs to pick this off. Ryung has his own tank. MMA pulling his SCVs, trying to get this off of his back, and he's gonna go for the big counter push into Ryung's tank line. These Hellbats are going to do a great job of tanking. No, for MMA, we might have a little bit of a base trade scenario here. The problem is there's so much more supply at the field for Ryung. He's going to be able to park the production of MMA. He's pushing in. He's going to be able to take out this factory of Ryung. 3rd base still mining. Ryung has a lot of forces. He has this high ground vision for now, but MMA does still have those Vikings there, and this is such an awkward spot to be in. You don't want to ever have to go into these kinds of positions where you got tanks in your base. Both of these players pretty much have tanks in their base. There is a tank out on the field for MMA. Ryung needs to make sure that he can isolate all of the expansions of MMA, since both players are going to start mining a lot of income. But, oh god, Ryung trying to push in. Oh, this is the rough spot of fighting versus this mech, is that he has a lot of supply, sure, but the problem is Ryung's supply isn't going to be able to do anything versus this. And now, with all these workers, he's in a really rough spot. All MMA needs to do is not lose all of his tech and bases, and he is going to be able to hold this production line of Ryung for quite a while. He has the Vikings to prevent any medevacs from doing anything. And the positioning is looking really good for MMA. Ryung does have a supply lead, but like I said, his army is not going to be terribly great fighting versus this tank line. And as we see that, Ryung's supply slowly but surely equalizing. And oh, the tank's on siege! Ryung is going to be able to catch a couple of MMA's tanks off guard. Very, very important here. There's only 5 tanks left on this side of the map for MMA, and this is where things can get so dicey. Of course, you can't really drop on top of these bad boys because there's still the Hellbats, but Ryung also has a command center on the west side. He can build a planetary fortress. He's just going to get an orbital command tower. I actually think all of his engineering bays were killed, so that could be one of the other reasons. And Ryung immediately trying to replace that production. These tanks are sitting here on the low ground, pretty much just picking out these buildings thanks to these Vikings. And the Vikings are saying, okay, you want to lift up? Sure, go for it. MMA's going to push in with everything. His SCV Hellbat composition steamrolling through here. He's trying to pick off these siege tanks of Ryung, and once these tanks are dead, he's going to be able to inch his way forward even more. Oh, goodness. I think MMA may have overextended there, though. Ryung is looking very sharp. He's taken out pretty much all the remaining infrastructure for MMA. There's a single command center that's going to be reaching those tanks soon enough, but MMA has only got 3 tanks. Well, 2 tanks in the main base of Ryung, and he's going to try to move in now. Oh, those tanks, though, this Mars have so much range. The Hellbats, once they're gone, he can try to drop on top once again, and it looks like Ryung is just going to split his bio and kill MMA's forces, but Oh man, as bad as these trades look, MMA's still in it. He's still taking out the production. The problem is there's more production for Ryung. He has medevacs, he has Marines, Marauders, he has orbital commands, mining bases. And mining bases is something that MMA would pretty much wish for. Now he's going to have to mine what's left in the natural that Ryung had earlier on in this game. But the barracks have repositioned themselves. Vikings trying to land for MMA, trying to pick off a couple of these workers. But Ryung actually has a pretty solid bank. His big problem here is no production. Well, MMA has to